Hello and welcome back to my channel. It has been 7 months since the last video. It is now July 2020. There has been a lot of changes in the world as a whole, and I've been very busy. The last video I did kind of left us after looking at the rule book, which had just been released, and I said that potentially I might make a little mock-up or something to actually play the game. Well, I'll let you know a bit more about what I've been doing in that sense in a minute. But yeah, it's been a crazy 6 months. The game is still not here, as you can see. I think I would have got a video up before then if there had been a massive development like that, but the game I'm still waiting for, and so is everyone else. So just to recap, here we are, Street Fighter Miniature, the channel. Here are my little Ryu and Ken. I started off the channel painting these little two guys. So that feels like an age away now, but again, still planning on painting my sets once they arrive, and hopefully giving you quite a detailed step by step of the different characters, the different colours. That's going to be like a main part of the channel. But then again, this isn't just a collection of miniatures, it's an actual board game. So now that I have kind of exhausted my painting capabilities, I'm kind of concentrating more on the game. And that leads me on to the next point, which I wanted to say I have been still very much linked to the board game, even though I've not been making videos as such. It's been quite a personal discovery of meeting all the other backers through the Discord channel that they have set up. So, in fact, I'm not sure if it kind of feels official now, as there are people involved with Jasco Games in the Discord, but I don't know whether initially it was just a fan setup or what, but there are a few core people in that Discord who are clearly are on there every day, and they charge the discussion and they help people out. And it's quite often the similar questions that you find, that people are wondering when they're going to get their game and the like, and there's a lot of that. However, that community is full of people, well, I'll have to say full of people like myself, really, people who are obsessed with this game, even though the game isn't in anyone's hands yet, people who are really looking forward to having their own board game version of Street Fighter, and people who basically can't wait for the game to arrive. And I say can't wait, they literally can't wait, so they've put it upon themselves to make their own everything. I'll be honest, there's a little bit of everything happening on that site. So, first things first then, have I done what I said I would do? Yes, I have. I have put together a prototype. So I'm sitting here in July 2020, and I have played the game, which is a great feeling, you know. In fact, I played it quite a bit. I was playing it back to back initially, because I was just finding it a great game, and I was right. I was looking at what I was predicting about half a year ago, saying about how I think it's going to be a simple game, yet with a couple of awkward rulings in terms of learning the different placements of what certain terminology allows you to do within the game. But once those terminology down, again, I'll draw back to the chess analogy, once you know the moves, you can play. So once you know the terminology of a dash and a charge and whatever, you then know how to do it. It applies for all characters across the board. Okay, so yeah, what have I done? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the prototype that I made. It's actually my second prototype. The first prototype I got a bit carried away, because obviously I had these amiibo side, which is, I think they're slightly bigger than the miniatures that are going to come in the game. So obviously I took the bottom of them and thought, well, inch and a half. I made basically a board that would fit these ones, and obviously that ended up being quite massive. In fact, what I did was, and again I'll try and maybe show some pictures of that, I put it on like a D&D mat and drew out the board. So I didn't have to create a board, but just made one on a D&D mat. and started playing. Not very thematic, obviously. It looked like what would a training stage in the Street Fighter worlds would look like. But put that together, played a couple of games. Ken and Ryu played a couple of games like that with the decks that I got. Again, all fancier to the people on Discord who are taking a educated guess about how the decks for each individual character is broken up, and then take a rough estimation of maybe Ken and Ryu, and then printing out those decks myself. So yeah, but the second prototype is the one I've actually played 90% of the games on, and I've got it just to my right here. So here we are in a lovely posh box. So I'll come back to these little boxes in a minute. So what I did was, for the game, was 4 characters. I suppose there's nothing stopping me from going back and making more characters and printing out a prototype for all the characters in the game and everything really. But basically, I made a far smaller board after the Amiibo incident, and you can tell I haven't played it in at least a month now, so the board's a little bit crooked, doesn't want to lay flat. But basically, this is the training stage that we've all seen with the dojo and whatnot. We've all got that. There we are, we lose the Amiibos to weigh it down. So we just made I think this is going to be smaller than the actual end product, if you like. But yeah, that's the squares, and just to make it fit then, let's talk Ryu and Ken. I made these little sort of head templates, if you like, just to show where the characters go when they start. And then in the stage there are scenery or terrain, and obviously you can pop them out. I made some rocks and trees, and they go where they need to go as well. So you've got essentially everything you need to play the game. Then there are the decks as well. So again, I've made 4, so you've got Ryu's deck and Ken's deck. Now, unfortunately, because the game hasn't been released, I think the contents of the cards exactly is only to be shared with backers, which I am pretty certain I'm talking to backers here, but maybe I'm not. So I won't be able to go through every card in detail, as I don't want that information out there. Obviously that's not going to age very well, I'm sure, if you're watching this when the game's already in people's hands. Everyone knows everybody's cards, and in fact, as of last week, I believe, the decks now that I have access to are the absolute correct decks. So we have taken liberties with some of these, having to guess how many of certain cards are in each deck. So maybe when you play the real Sagat, because that's one of the characters I made, when you play the real Sagat, you might notice that he has way more projectiles than what we guessed. However, we did guess that Sagat would have a lot of projectiles, which would make sense, as any fans of the game knows, he just shouts out Tiger and keeps firing projectiles. So this is basically how I've been playing the game. And I'll be honest, I just want to gush out a review to you now, and I'll give you a quick one, I suppose. It is very easy and accessible to get into. Yes, you can get lost for moments sometimes when you're there with a hand of 5-6 cards, and you want to read every single card, and the first couple of games will take a bit longer just for reading the cards, but the simplicity of being able to, well, how do I attack you? You play one of the cards that allows you to do that. Right, you've just attacked me. What are my options here? And for somebody who knows the game, then they can easily just say, well, look, you can block it, or if you think you know what kind of attack I'm attacking you with, you can try to counter. When you start countering early on, you won't have any idea about, well, how far away is the person attacking me? They're probably going to use a fireball, are they? But you might realise that there is a strike there that involves dashing 3 squares before the attack takes place. So there are specials, there are strikes, and there are projectiles, but they all have different ranges, and they overlap quite cunningly as well. So it's not immediately obvious how to counter-attack. Now, Counter-attacking in the first couple of games, I'll be honest, I never did, because I was just happy with blocking. However, you can't turtle and block all the time, because throws just ignore blocks. They just grab you and throw you, and throws can do a lot of damage if you throw in the right place, because you can knock yourself against these trees and stones and whatnot, and you get extra damage. So you can't turtle and block. And then I remember after my first couple of games, I went back on the Discord and asked about the baits. I didn't really see the point of the baits. And the bait cards, they help you build meter up, but they do that especially well against somebody who does block a lot. Well, I was blocking a lot myself, so I didn't really see the benefit of them. However, when that was flipped, and somebody was playing baits against me and I was blocking, I understood then the benefit of them. They were gaining meter. Again, gaining meter allows you to do your super attack, which is devastating. One thing I must say before going further, and I said this was going to be a quick little review, one thing I must say though, the ebb and flow of this game is fantastic. Think of a race game. If you're well versed with board games, think of any race game. A lot of them fall into the trap of that runaway leader. You want it to have an elastic band situation where you are getting away, but then it's very, very easy for that person to catch up a little bit. Think Mario Kart with a blue shell scenario. You don't want it to be too random. You want it to be a degree of skill and a degree of control over what's happening to your character. However, there's nothing worse than somebody with a massive health advantage or somebody with a massive gap in a race, and we just watch them win. There's nothing worse. In Street Fighter, that can happen, but rarely does it. Because one good counter and then a couple of good attacks and a one good roll can swing a health meter 10 points, 15 points, or you start with about 25 in this game. So it can be swing. You might lose a round, not a perfect, but close to a perfect. The very next game you're doing fantastically well. So at the risk of making it sound like it's total random, it doesn't feel random, but it does feel like you're just hoping to get a couple of those decisions to go your own way, the right way. And I feel quite often when I win, like I deserved to win because I countered at the right time, or I decided to block at the right time. Even if my rolls were unlucky, I did the right thing at the right time. That probably alone as a single reason has kept me enjoying this game and meant that I put up with these amateur components and dice rolling, and I played it so many times in this form. So I probably said this before, but the game to me was always a bonus because I wanted these miniatures, and I'm going to make a YouTube channel just painting the miniatures, making them look good and displaying them. However, the game has not let me down at all. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but at the moment I am really enjoying this. Really am enjoying the game. So, basically, there have been some more updates to do with shipping and whatnot. Obviously, I'm not really the place to find out when the game's going to arrive, but I must encourage you to go to the Discord. So if you are a backer of the game, you will be allowed in to the Discord channel and you will be able to reach out with any questions. There's always somebody, and because we're a community all around the world, somebody is always awake. Mind you, I think that the boys who work for Jasco, they never seem to sleep at all. They're always up. But there are some real characters in there, and they're all very helpful, and they understand that people are at a very different level of investment in this game. Not financially, I mean, some people are creating their own characters that are not even on the roster. They're even making their own standees for them, and entire decks to play. Shout out to the gentleman who did Sean. So he's been playing Sean against Laura and having this brother-sister fights and stuff. It's amazing that they've allowed us access to this much of the information of the game. Interesting that we won't pass it on too far, or the details, just to keep the Capcom overlords happy. And it's great that we've been able to taste it, because let's be honest, we have been waiting 3 years now for this game. So hopefully sometime in the fourth, or maybe even 2020, maybe even by Christmas, some people might get it. I'm still going to say next year, but that's just me. So yes, so that's been what I've been up to. Sorry, it's a lot to take on board. I really should have done a video in the middle, but everyone's world is turned upside down at the moment, and yeah, let's just hope for a bit of consistency going forward. Obviously, as soon as I get the games, there will be a huge video, and I'm warning you now, only watch that if you're really into me opening boxes for half an hour, because there will be a lot of stuff to open. And after that, it'll be down to the painting. But yeah, what I might be able to do, I mean, I could take a bit longer in another video just to show you maybe some of the concepts and the rules of how it works. Maybe a step by step. I might look at some of the cards that have been spoilt somewhere by the Angry Joe video, so I don't want to step on anyone's feet, and show how a dash or a charge or a Hadouken works, and what kind of things that can happen when you throw or when you decide to block or decide to counter. Yes. The fourth character, so you might be wondering who else I had. I had Sagat, Ryu, Ken, and Guile as well. Guile is very different. So one thing I had to take away from the plays was how different they are. Now, Ken and Ryu are different, but within reason. I was expecting them to be similar, hence the styles they are. Sagat, very different, and Guile, even more different. Guile's event side of his decks is just, he's just there ready to counter. And again, if you play the computer game at all, you know that's what Guile does. He sits there pressing crouch back and waiting for you to attack him, basically. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. One little quick shout out as well, look at these, talking about the community and what they do. These lovely boxes, these are, basically you can get the template for these on the Discord I mentioned. Again, apologies to the name, everyone's got their profile names and I do mix them up, but the gentleman who did these, absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's got the artwork on the front, the logo on the back, which is really nice and neat. If I'm honest, depending on what the insert looks like for this game, I might actually make these boxes. I've got Ken, Ryu and Guile here. I might make these boxes for the entire set, and they might be better that way, because then I can just put model, and there we are, the deck with it. Depends on the insert of the game, of course. So yeah, there's boxes that you can download. Oh, and then probably the most impressive feat is, it's unofficial, okay, but it is the app that one of the guys on Discord has done. I think it's Spider Seb, I think he's done the app. An amazing piece of work. It's got all the sprites on there. Basically, instead of your board to hold your ultrameter, your health and all that, he's basically integrated a soundboard into it, so you can basically press buttons if you like to annoy your opponent with, Tiger, or Hadouken, and it keeps all your information there. So, I mean, I wish that was official, to be honest. I wish they could somehow get Capcom just to green light that, but obviously it'd be so difficult, I know, because Capcom would want to do it themselves, I'm guessing, or take the credit for it at least. So kudos to that gentleman who did that work. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So I've got it on my phone, and we'll see where that goes as well. So I might put the link to the Discord. The Discord link is in all the updates, is in all that. Most people who've needed to get to the Discord have done already. They've been there over a year now. So it's just kind of like a thank you to them, actually, for keeping my enthusiasm up as well and pushing me through. So there we are. The next video will probably be a little bit more focused on some of the gameplay and maybe a closer look at my version, my little prototype here, and to show you how some of the concepts works on a very few limited number of cards. Alright, so that's enough for now. This has been a very long video. Thank you very much for persevering with me, and we will see you soon.